Okay, so imagine a world, right, where your crypto transactions, they only cost pennies, and they take just seconds.
Wow.
That's the promise of Solana.
Yeah.
It's this blockchain platform that is basically saying, hey, Ethereum,
Yeah.
watch out.
Right.
We're coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
But can it actually dethrone the king?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at today, and we've got a whole bunch of sources here.
It's a big question.
Yeah.
I mean, can it really flip Ethereum? That's the debate.
Exactly.
Lots of opinions on this one.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of guide you through all the big arguments on both sides.
Absolutely.
That's
It'll be a fun one.
To really get this, I think we need to set the stage a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So think back to 2015.
Back in the day.
That's when Ethereum launched, and it kind of changed everything.
For sure.
Smart contracts were this brand new thing.
Yeah.
And suddenly, you could build these decentralized applications, all this stuff, DeFi, NFTs, all right on the blockchain. And, Ethereum's still the leader in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, you look at the market cap, it's huge.
Right.
There's a huge community of developers that are building on it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ethereum has been kind of the foundation for so much of what we see in crypto.
For sure.
I mean, it's reliable, it's secure, and it's got a proven track record.
Totally. And then, 2020 comes around and Solana kind of bursts onto the scene.
Here comes the challenger.
And they're all about speed.
Right.
They're saying they can get up to 65,000 transactions per second.
It's a big difference.
Versus Ethereum's 30.
Yeah.
And the fees are super low.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big draw for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's a big pain point for a lot of users.
Totally.
So right away, you see this this contrast.
Yeah.
Ethereum, it's established, but it's slower and it's more expensive. Solana is fast and it's cheap, but it hasn't really been around long enough
to prove itself.
To totally prove itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that contrast is really at the heart of this whole debate.
Right.
Like, is it better to go with what's established?
Tried and true. Even
if it means you're sacrificing some speed and some cost.
Yeah.
Or do you take a gamble on something newer that's promising this much smoother and cheaper experience?
Right. Do you go for the potential upside?
Yeah.
Or stick with, the reliability?
Exactly. So let's break it down.
Okay.
Let's talk about the case for Solana first.
Right.
And our sources they break it down into three main points.
Okay.
The speed and the cost, which we just touched on. The whole ecosystem that's being built around Solana.
Yeah.
And its sustainability.
Okay, cool.
So let's start with speed.
Right.
65,000 transactions per second.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Like, in the real world, what does that even look like?
I know, it's hard to even...
What could you do on Solana that you couldn't do on Ethereum?
Well, imagine, real-time trading, but at a scale we've never seen before.
Wow.
Right? Or complex online games with, thousands of players interacting seamlessly.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of speed, it opens up so many possibilities for developers, for users. I mean, even for everyday transactions, it means no more waiting forever for things to go through and no more paying those crazy fees.
Yeah, for anyone who's used Ethereum and is frustrated with how long things take sometimes.
Absolutely.
And the cost.
Yeah.
That's got to be a pain.
It's all about efficiency, right?
Yeah.
Like getting things done quickly and cheaply.
Exactly.
But speed isn't the only thing.
Right.
You need a thriving ecosystem for a platform to really take off.
So what's going on in Solana's ecosystem?
That's the question, right?
Is it real projects? Or is it just hype?
I think we're seeing some really significant growth.
Okay.
And it's not just hype.
Okay.
Look at NFTs, for example. Platforms like Magic Eden, which is a Solana-based NFT marketplace, they're seeing explosive growth.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not just NFTs either.
Okay.
There's exciting things happening in gaming, in DeFi, all sorts of areas.
So it's not just the tech itself.
Right.
It's also who's using it and what they're building on it.
Exactly.
That's a big part of whether a platform's actually going to take off.
Totally. And I think that growth, shows that developers and users see value in the platform.
Yeah.
It suggests that Solana, it could have staying power.
Okay, so we've got the speed, we've got a growing ecosystem, but what about the environmental impact?
Sustainability.
How does Solana compare to Ethereum when it comes to that?
Yeah, so this is another area where Solana might have an edge.
Okay.
They use a proof-of-history consensus mechanism.
Right.
Which is very different from Ethereum's proof-of-work system.
Okay, I got to admit, these terms, proof of work, proof of history,
It can get confusing.
They always throw me off a little.
Yeah, totally understandable.
Can you, break it down for us?
Sure, yeah.
In simple terms.
So think of proof of work like a giant competition.
Okay.
Where miners are using all this computing power to solve complex puzzles to validate transactions.
Okay.
It's secure, for sure.
Yeah.
But it uses a ton of energy.
So it's like a super energy-hungry math competition.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Solana's proof of history, on the other hand, is more like a time-stamping system.
Okay.
It verifies the order of transactions using a cryptographic clock.
Got it.
Which requires way less energy.
So it's more about verifying the order of events?
Exactly.
Than, brute-forcing solutions.
Yeah, it's a more efficient way to do it.
That makes sense.
And for people who are, environmentally conscious,
right.
that could be a big selling point.
Totally, yeah. And with all the concerns about, crypto and energy consumption, it's definitely a factor that more and more people are thinking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Solana's got the speed. It's got a growing ecosystem. It's energy efficient.
Seems like it's got it all.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but there's always a but.
There are some potential downsides.
Right, there are some concerns.
That we need to consider.
Definitely.
So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about those.
Okay, yeah, let's dive into that.
So one of the big concerns that our sources bring up is about Solana's network stability.
Right.
Ethereum, it's been around for a while.
It's got a solid track record.
It's got this long history of reliability.
Yeah.
But Solana...
It's had a few hiccups.
It's had some pretty big outages, actually.
Yeah, some notable ones.
And for anyone who's using the platform, I mean, especially for, critical transactions.
Right, if you're relying on it.
Or applications.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
That can be a deal breaker.
For sure. I mean, reliability is key. Yeah.
When you're evaluating a platform like this,
imagine you're relying on this platform for something super important.
Right.
And then all of a sudden
it's gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
That's not a risk that everyone's willing to take.
Especially when you have these other options.
Right.
Like Ethereum.
That have kind of proven themselves over time.
That have been through the ringer.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of ties into another concern about Solana, which is decentralization.
Right.
One of the kind of core principles of blockchain technology.
Absolutely. That's a big one.
Is this idea of decentralization.
Yeah, it's all about, not having a single point of failure.
Right. The network isn't controlled by any one entity.
Exactly. And that's what makes it resistant to censorship.
Right.
And manipulation.
Yeah. But Solana's design, which, it prioritizes speed.
Right. It's all about speed.
But it's led to some concerns
Yeah.
about its level of decentralization. It's a trade-off, for sure.
Okay, so help me understand this a bit more.
Sure.
How does focusing on speed affect its decentralization?
Well, to get those super fast transaction speeds, Solana uses a smaller set of validators compared to Ethereum. And validators are basically the computers that verify the transactions and maintain the network.
Got it.
So fewer validators.
Yeah.
It makes the network more efficient.
Okay.
But it also means there are fewer points of control.
Right.
Which could theoretically make it more vulnerable.
To, attacks or...
Yeah, attacks, censorship.
Okay, so it's
a balancing act.
There's a trade-off here.
For sure.
Solana's going for speed and efficiency. But that comes with some risks to decentralization.
Potentially.
And Ethereum's more decentralized, but it's slower and more expensive.
It's kind of like choosing between a sports car and a truck, right?
Yeah.
The sports car is going to be fast and nimble, but the truck, it's built for, hauling heavy loads.
It's more reliable.
Exact.
Okay, I like that analogy.
It's all about what you need.
Yeah, it really highlights how important it is to kind of understand the tech.
Absolutely, and the trade-offs.
Yeah.
Because there's no perfect solution.
Right.
It all depends on your priorities.
And your risk tolerance, right?
Totally.
Okay, so that's, network stability, decentralization. But there's one more challenge I think we need to talk about.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the elephant in the room.
The big one.
Ethereum is the dominant player.
It's the king.
Right now, it's got this huge market cap.
Tons of developers.
Massive community.
Institutional support.
Can Solana really overcome all of that?
I mean, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Ethereum's dominance is undeniable.
Right.
I mean, it's been around for so long.
Right.
It's got this network effect.
Yeah.
That's really hard to beat.
But we've seen this happen before.
Yeah, for sure.
In the tech world.
All the time.
Things can change really quickly.
Yeah. I mean, new technologies, new platforms can come out of nowhere.
And disrupt everything.
And disrupt everything.
Yeah.
User preferences change.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what the future holds?
So it's not impossible.
Definitely not.
For Solana to make a dent.
It's an uphill battle, but it's not impossible.
It's like a David and Goliath situation.
Classic underdog story.
Yeah, and everyone loves to root for the underdog.
Totally.
So while Ethereum is in a really strong position, it's not invincible.
Right, there are cracks in the armor.
Yeah, and Solana's got some things going for it.
Absolutely.
The speed, the low fees.
The growing ecosystem.
The growing ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's definitely attracting attention.
People are taking notice.
Okay, so we've got all these different factors to consider.
It's a complex landscape.
It's a lot.
It's hard to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, but let's say, like, our listeners, they want to kind of keep track of this. This crypto showdown themselves.
Yeah.
What are some things that they should be watching?
Well, there are a few key indicators that can give you some insights into how this rivalry is playing out.
Okay.
So first, you can look at market capitalization.
Market cap.
Can Solana close the gap with Ethereum?
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a measure of overall value.
Right, and investor confidence.
Exactly.
Okay, so market cap. What else?
Another important metric is daily active users and transaction volume.
Makes sense.
These numbers tell you how much the platforms are actually being used.
Right. It's one thing to have cool technology.
Exactly.
But it's another thing to have people actually using it.
You got to have adoption.
Yeah, so usage is a big indicator
For sure.
of success.
Absolutely.
Okay, so market cap, daily active users, transaction volume, anything else.
And then I think it's worth looking at adoption in different areas.
Okay.
Like DeFi, gaming.
Right, so it's not just overall dominance.
It's also about where each platform
is finding its niche.
Is finding its strength, yeah. Like maybe Solana will carve out a space for itself.
Right.
In certain areas.
Yeah, even if it doesn't totally overtake Ethereum.
Right.
Interesting.
And remember, all these metrics can change really quickly.
Right, especially in crypto.
Yeah, it's a dynamic space.
Things move fast.
So you got to stay informed.
Okay, so we've explored the case for Solana.
We've looked at the challenges.
We've looked at the challenges.
You have the metrics to watch.
Some key metrics to watch. But the big question is still...
The big question.
Will Solana flip Ethereum?
Yeah, can it dethrone the king?
What do you think?
Well, you know, the sources we've been looking at, they don't give a definitive answer.
Right.
And I think that's great for our listeners because it means they get to decide for themselves.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We've presented the facts, the arguments, the things to watch. But ultimately, forming an opinion
is up to them.
Right. We're not telling anyone what to think.
Exactly. We're just giving them the tools to make their own informed decisions.
I love that.
Empowering the listeners.
Yeah. So what about you, though? What are you finding most interesting about this whole Solana versus Ethereum thing?
What I find really fascinating is that this isn't necessarily a zero-sum game.
What do you mean?
Like, it's not inevitable that one platform will completely destroy the other. There's a possibility that both platforms could thrive.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe for different purposes.
Okay, so you're saying there's room for both.
I think so.
Wow.
We might see a future where Ethereum remains the dominant platform for like more complex financial applications, institutional use cases, while Solana becomes the go-to for things that require high speed and low cost.
Like what? Look, give me an example. Like gaming, microtransactions, maybe even certain types of NFTs.
Interesting.
So it's not about one platform winning and the other losing.
Right.
It's more about each platform finding its niche.
Finding its place.
And excelling in different areas.
Okay, so it's less about head-to-head competition.
Yeah.
And more about like, you know, different tools for different jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like comparing a workhorse to a sports car.
Right.
Both are valuable, but they're good at different things.
Okay, that's a great way to think about it.
So it's not about picking a winner.
Right.
It's about understanding the nuances of each platform.
Yeah.
and how they might fit into the broader ecosystem.
The whole crypto ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
that Ethereum is transitioning to a proof-of-stake system.
Oh, right. Ethereum 2.0.
How might that change things?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That could be a game changer.
Okay, so just to remind us, how does proof-of-stake differ from proof-of-work?
Right. So remember our analogy of proof of work being like a giant math competition.
Yeah, the energy-hungry one.
The energy-hungry one, exactly.
Yeah.
Proof of stake is more like a system where validators, they stake their own cryptocurrency to participate in the network.
Got it.
So it's much more energy efficient. Which addresses a major concern.
Right, about proof-of-work's environmental impact.
Exactly.
And that was one of Solana's kind of selling points.
Right.
Was how energy efficient it is.
It was a differentiator.
So if Ethereum goes proof-of-stake, does that kind of negate Solana's advantage there?
It could level the playing field
Okay.
in terms of sustainability.
Okay.
And it's not just about energy efficiency.
Right.
Proof of stake could also improve Ethereum's scalability, meaning it could handle more transactions per second.
Oh, wow.
Potentially.
Okay.
So it could become a more direct competitor to Solana.
In terms of speed and cost.
Wow. So we're talking...
It's getting even more interesting.
We've got these two platforms.
Head to head.
Each with their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And one of them's about to go through this major transformation.
A major upgrade.
Could totally change the game.
The landscape could shift completely.
So many moving parts.
It's a dynamic space.
Yeah. What's the key takeaway here?
I think the key takeaway is that there's no easy answer to the question of whether Solana will flip Ethereum.
It's not a simple yes or no.
Exactly. There are so many variables, so much potential for innovation. New challenges and opportunities are emerging all the time.
So it's more about understanding the trends.
Staying informed. Being adaptable. Don't get too attached to any one platform or technology.
Okay.
Be open to new possibilities.
Keep an open mind.
And keep an eye on the bigger picture.
The big picture, yeah. It's not about picking sides.
It's about embracing the dynamic nature.
The ever-changing nature.
Of this space.
Of the blockchain space.
And being prepared for whatever comes next.
Exactly.
That's exciting.
It's an exciting time to be involved.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think the most exciting possibility is that both platforms will continue to innovate.
Push each other. To become even better.
Make each other better.
Exactly. And ultimately, that benefits everyone.
The whole ecosystem benefits.
The whole blockchain ecosystem benefits.
Competition breeds innovation.
Often.
Yeah. And in a field like this.
As groundbreaking as this.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
All right. We are running a little short on time for this deep dive.
Okay.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up?
I would just encourage everyone to go beyond the headlines. Don't just skim the surface.
Right.
Really delve into the details, explore the different platforms.
Yeah.
Experiment with them.
If you're comfortable.
If you're comfortable, yeah. And form your own opinions.
Don't be afraid to,
challenge the assumptions. Think critically about the future.
Of blockchain. Yeah, I love that. Be curious.
Stay informed.
Stay informed and...
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah. And just a reminder, this is a complex space.
It is.
If you're thinking about investing in any cryptocurrency,
do your research.
Invest responsibly.
Don't put in more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. Wise words.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end
of
our deep dive into the Solana versus Ethereum debate.
It's been a good one.
We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking.
Yeah. Hopefully a little mind-bending.
Maybe even a little bit mind-bending.
Yeah.
It's a complex space.
It is.
It's changing rapidly.
All the time.
But that's what makes it so fascinating.
It's exciting to be a part of it. It really is.
Yeah.
So, until next time.
Keep
exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep questioning and keep diving deep.
Dive deep.
And it's important to remember.
Yeah.
This is just like a snapshot.
A moment in time.
Of where things stand right now.
Right. Because the crypto world, it's always changing.
It never stops.
This debate, it's far from over.
Who knows what's coming next, right?
Exactly. I mean, new technologies,
Yeah.
new platforms.
New ideas.
New ideas could emerge at any moment.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to, like,
Yeah.
Stay informed. Keep learning.
Be adaptable.
Be adaptable.
Don't get too attached to any one platform or technology.
Okay.
Be open to new possibilities and keep an eye on the bigger picture.
The bigger picture. Yeah, I like that.
Don't get lost in the weeds.
Right, exactly.
Think big.
All right, well, on that note,
I
think we'll wrap up our deep dive into the Solana versus Ethereum debate.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
We hope you learned some stuff, that it was thought-provoking.
Yeah, and that you have a better understanding of this crazy world.
Of this amazing, complex,
constantly evolving world.
Constantly evolving space.
Of crypto.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise, it's been great.
And until next time.
Keep
exploring, keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep into the world of crypto.